The first tip we're gonna go over, actually, let's redo that. I am totally losing. Competition, so some push-up, no, one more time, sorry.
That's okay.
Words today are hard.
Words are hard always.
They're so hard.
They're so hard.
Oh my gosh.
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have MikeMike and we're back at Project Rise again. Today we're gonna be going through an upper body endurance workout. You guys know that I competed in a calisthenics competition earlier this summer. So did MikeMike and he absolutely crushed it. He's an insane athlete, like literally amazing. So we're gonna run through some workouts in order to increase our upper body strength in case anybody's interested in competing. But first, let's just see how amazing he is.
Oh, cheers. Okay guys, so first thing we're gonna go over for competition is knowing what competition you're competing in. So for example, when we competed in the summer, we did an unbroken competition, meaning it was as many push-ups as we could possibly do. I think you hit 105? 105,
yes.
Right, and I think I hit 146 if I remember correctly. Thank you. But that's a very different competition than, let's say, for example, if you had a 2-minute drill. So sometimes you're at competitions where you do as many push-ups as you can in 2 minutes. So that's
very different.
It's very, very different, yeah. So know where you're competing, very important.
Yeah.
It's tip number 1. Okay. All right, so building into tip number 2, it would be knowing how long you're gonna be up for. So again, leading back to the example in the summer, I think yours ended up being somewhere over 5 minutes. So
yeah, I think the video was like 5 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah, so you were actually doing push-ups for 5 minutes, meaning that you have to have at bare minimum a 5-minute plank.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where
true.
That's where a lot of people go wrong, because their chest and triceps might be able to handle hundreds of push-ups, but their plank and their legs.
That was the part that gave out for me. Like I felt like my arms were okay, but I was like, you know, my core,
legs, everything.
Yeah, everything was shaking.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big tip.
Yeah, huge tip. So tip number 3 is going to be knowing whether you're competing indoors or outdoors, and that's going to lead back to training as well too.
Okay.
So if you're always used to training indoors, then it's gonna be very different when you have to compete, let's say, in 40-degree weather, right?
Yeah, or snow. You're telling me that you were gonna compete in cold weather.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's outdoor comps in the winter, so that means that part of my training, or part of our training for competing in the winter, has to be outdoors.
Which is so extreme to go from like super hot weather, like in Montreal, versus rain. Do they do it in rain too?
Yep, rain as well too. Yeah. I know, right? Yeah, so knowing where you're competing, super important.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, that's good to know because I definitely always train indoors, so we will switch that up.
We'll have to do some outdoors. So now we're gonna go over a couple of things for actually increasing our push-up reps, but also things to consider when you're doing your push-ups at competition. So first things first is form. So
they're really strict on it.
Yeah, very, very strict, right? And it really depends on what comp you go to. There's different standards. So again, going back to tip number 1 that we talked about before, just knowing the competition you're going to is super important.
Yeah, know what the standards are going into it.
100%. Yeah. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we'll get into a push-up position. Right, so things to note here, straight arm lockout at the top, no bent arm. If the arm is bent whatsoever, usually that's
no rep.
No rep. Second thing, we're gonna have to hit a fist. So that's usually about 1 inch to 1.5 inches off of the floor. So we're gonna use the 10-pound dumbbell today, which is about that height. So
and the fist is hitting chest, right?
Yeah, fist is hitting chest for sure. Or like sternum area to be very specific. So yeah. So from here we'll go down, touch, and then all the way back up. So that's a rep, that's a full rep. Now, depending on the comp, sometimes you might have to have your feet together.
I was gonna say is feet
together. Feet together.
Feet together or apart.
Right, so sometimes feet together, which is actually a good thing when we go into high volume, because when your hip flexors start to give out, it actually helps when your feet are together.
Yeah, because when I was doing mine, I like literally, my lower body was the thing that got sore. And I was like, bro, I'm doing push-ups.
Yeah, anytime I go into the hundreds, it's usually like the hips that sag, or like you feel like something's gonna rip through your hip flexor. It's crazy.
Yeah, like everything's getting recruited. Okay, so that's proper form. And then for my competition, you do like a tap, right? So in order to count your rep to go back down, someone has to tap your shoulder.
Exactly, yeah. So, and that comes like the full arm lockout. So right before you go, typically you'll either have to protract your scapula to get that full range of motion, or you'll have to have somebody just hold their hand there. Or the third thing is that there might be like a rope or something that you have to hit. It really depends on
again, it depends on your competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, for ours, it was a hand.
Yeah,
so it was like I went down,
yeah,
and then I had to touch.
Exactly, and that's a full rep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you don't, obviously it doesn't count. So make sure when you're doing your push-ups that you're actually doing all the rules, because otherwise you're just wasting your reps.
Yeah. The other thing, one more thing to note is voice command, because sometimes that's really important. So it'll be like go, right? So even if you hit the hand, you still have to wait for the verbal command. So,
interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. That makes it so much harder sometimes.
Way harder.
Yeah, because it's not only, like you said, it's not only doing push-ups, but it's also holding that plank, hitting full lockout, and having someone be like, okay, now you can go.
And that accumulates time too, right? Like waiting for somebody to talk and say go.
When it's the 2-minute one though, are they still doing that?
It depends. Sometimes yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So in which case you want to make sure that what I normally do in those instances is I'll have a conversation with the person who's judging me right before we go up, right?
Oh, just like to know the rules.
Yeah,
like, hey,
exactly.
What's up?
Yeah, and like I'll do like a test 5 or something and be like, okay, show me your kind of counting and timing for this, because I'll be like, okay, I can do it faster, and then I can account for that, like how I'm doing the reps.
Yeah. Versus you don't want to like do a bunch super fast and him be like, none of those counted.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you find typically when you're doing your push-ups, do you like to go fast at the beginning and then slow down, or do you like to keep an even tempo all the way through your reps, like for as long as you can before you get tired?
I go fast usually. Yeah, so I get as many as I can done at the beginning.
Yeah.
And especially if it's like, well, a couple of things, right? Like you have that plank that you're gonna be holding for a long time.
Yeah.
And then just the more muscular endurance, like the more time you're up, just the more muscular endurance overall you're gonna need. So the faster usually is the better, but the only thing you have to consider there is your form, right? Because sometimes when you go too fast,
you don't get full lockout.
Hard to see.
Because you're going to,
Yeah.
Another question too, does it matter? Because some people are stronger in like a close grip versus like a slightly wider grip. Do they care about that? Because obviously if you're wider grip, your range of motion is going to be shorter. So technically that would be a little easier.
Exactly, yeah. So oftentimes you'll see either shoulder width or slightly outside of shoulder width.
Yeah, but you won't see anyone like...
No, that won't count. No, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yep, and so for practice, just make sure shoulder width slightly outside of shoulder width, and again, know your competition.
Yes, I tried to look up people who were going to compete in Montreal, but because I wasn't super familiar with the competition, I had no idea. So I just went blind. I was like, here we go.
Yeah. So see who the organizers are, see what the previous years were like, and see who the athletes are that are competing. All important.
Super fun. Okay, cool.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 specific drills to help your form for competition. So first is going to be 10 perfect form push-ups. Okay. So I'll be your judge for today, and we'll count them rep or no rep.
Okay, go feet together?
Yep, perfect. And then here's the hand. Okay, here we go. So you got to tap the dumbbell, and 1, nice. 2, 3, perfect. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Those are perfect. Awesome.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so now let's say you have some sort of weakness in your push-ups, like we were talking about the hip flexors and the core, and it really depends. It could be at the bottom, could be at the top of the push-up. We'll address the bottom of the push-up first, because a lot of people break at the core, or they just can't quite get out of that bottom pocket. So to help that, we'll do a short range of motion push-up. So just like a little push-up pulse, and you're gonna be now touching the back of the stick here. So that's gonna equal 1 rep. We're gonna go for about 15 of those.
And then still with this?
Still with that, yeah.
Okay.
So chest is touching here, and you're just doing a very short range of motion.
For 15.
Coming up. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Coming up to the floor. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit lower and do a test one. So that's how high.
Oh, okay, so that's short. Okay.
It's really short. All right, here we go. And let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Beautiful. Good, good. So you definitely get a little bit of a bump.
Yeah,
at
that's
the
like,
bottom
that's a
end.
pump.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
good, okay.
Yeah, so you got that. And the other thing you can do too is video yourself on the side, just so that you can see, you know, is my core
like my form
sagging?
breaking.
Exactly. Yours was perfect, but we know that you can do 105 reps. So that's
If I can actually be able to do 15.
Exactly, for sure, for sure. And on that note, you want like your practice to like match what your output is, right? So you
Yeah, you
like,
want to practice good forms, that way you can keep in good form. There's no purpose
yeah.
of practicing like 20, 100 million push-ups and having it all look like
For sure.
garbage.
Yeah. Now 15 might be a little bit light for you. We might go like up to 50. That would probably be more realistic for to help you like break that 105 barrier.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay.
Noted.
All right, last one we're gonna do is for the top form. So this is where I usually have to put a lot of work in myself too, is making sure I have like a very long plank so that I can stay in that position for however long I need to.
Yeah, I would say my top portion is my weakest point.
Okay.
Like that like gradual push is like where I struggle the most. I can get down nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we could do two things. So we'll try a 90-degree weighted rep. So what we're gonna do is we'll start at the top, and then we're just gonna come down to about 90 degrees and then back up. And we'll do 5 of those. And then
With the weight.
With the weight, yeah. So this is 35 pounds here. So we're just gonna start with a set of 5 of those. And then we'll hold, right after that, we'll hold about a 20-second plank.
Oh, okay, so combining, again, both those two things.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're gonna
cool.
go right. All right, and I'll watch the weight here. Okay, so we're gonna go for 5. And
So up to here?
Yep, right there. And 1, beautiful. 2, nice. 3, good. 4, good. And last one, 5. Good. Hold that now. Perfect. So now we're going right into the top hold. Excellent. Good, good, good. Yep, form is good. Legs are together. Core is great. Okay, we're gonna go for another 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very
I like that one. I've never done that one before.
Yeah? Okay.
That one's cool.
Perfect.
That one, I see like the direct correlation of how it's gonna help a competition.
Awesome.
Because there's so many times where like, when you get tired especially, you're like hanging out here, you're like, okay, can I do one more? Can I do one more?
100%.
Yeah, so that one was really good.
Exactly. And if you know that you need to be up for, let's say, the 5 minutes again, then at some point we want to try at least a 6-minute hold.
With the weight. So doing like reps and then holding 6 minutes?
Yeah, which is crazy. But that should probably help you break a little bit of a plateau.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, cool.
Wow, that's crazy. That's really good. Now with push-ups, because I know I get asked a lot, in terms of like breathing and like hand positioning, like wrists and stuff like that, I always tell everyone you want like equal weight through both hands, but do you have any advice for anyone who wants to say compete in these competitions, but they have like super bad flexion in their wrists? So like, are you able when you compete to ever do like
a neutral
fists
grip and
or
stuff
like
that. So it depends on the comp, but I would say neutral grip, yes, some people allow that, especially if you have an injury going on.
Yeah.
But the only issue with that is that it's a longer range of motion.
Yeah, because now you're stacked and you have to go a little bit
Yeah.
further. So it makes it harder on yourself, but if you have bad wrists, then
It's something to consider.
it's something to do at least.
Yeah. So,
And then breathing.
Yeah, breathing. So everybody has kind of like a different take on this. I personally like to breathe in on the way down and then out on the way up.
Same.
Yeah.
As silly as it sounds, I feel like that like of air just like pushes me away from the floor.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about breathing, we talked about tempo before and like the pace of doing things. When we come to competition, we have to consider, so for me, for example, I like doing a lot of fast reps. So not only do I have to practice fast reps, but I have to practice fast breathing as well too.
To keep up, yeah.
Exactly, and then my breathing will change. So there's so many different factors that go into it. Like I've seen videos of myself compete before and I'm like, what am I doing? Like the breath for the first 50 push-ups, I'm like holding it, right? My face
which
goes
is
red.
terrible. Never hold
Horrible.
breathe.
Horrible. Yeah, you gotta breathe for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Oftentimes you'll like notice like even if you probably watch back to your video, people are probably yelling, breathe.
Yeah, breathe. Like take a rest. Like just
Yeah.
like things to cue you because when you're there doing it, you just don't even like you
you're
lose all sense.
blanking out. Yeah, especially when you go past a certain number. Like if let's say your max ever was like 50 push-ups and now you're doing like you're in the 80s, you don't know what's going on. Your nervous system is fried.
Yeah,
your
I got out of
mind
those
is
push-ups and I was
elsewhere.
like, I like couldn't hear out of one ear. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, you literally feel like a corpse after something.
Yeah. Do you find with different weather, whether it's like extreme hot or like extreme cold, like the breathing thing changes too?
Oh, 100%,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely, yeah. So what I like to do before comps is practice in different weather for sure.
Yeah, just to kind of get that breath work in in as well.
Yeah. And if
really good.
like your setup doesn't allow for that, you can also like, for example, let's say you are training indoors, but you want to mimic the outdoors, wear like 3 sweaters, right? So you literally heat up.
So you're like hot.
Yeah, you're hot. Or like if your gym has like a sauna or something like that, go in the sauna, get out, put a sweater on, do 100 push-ups, right? That will kind of mimic the
extreme heat.
Yeah. And then same thing with the cold, except I hate the cold training. But I do it, but I hate it.
I've never done cold training.
It's horrible.
Don't know if I ever will.
It's not that fun, but it helps with the winter comps for sure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, I would say when I competed, I went in competing without even thinking I was gonna compete.
Yeah.
So I hadn't practiced anything. So the 105 was like, adrenaline
It's mind-blowing.
is a beautiful thing.
That is.
That like energy and the people around you. So like if you guys ever go to a comp, like the crew you have around you, people like I didn't even know were cheering me on.
Right.
People are like right there, like slapping the floor. Like it's such a cool experience and such a great community. People are honestly there, like even though you're competing, they're there to see you get better.
Yeah.
So I recommend going to a competition no matter what level you're at.
Yeah.
Whether you're beginner, advanced,
you
whatever.
got it.
It's so fun.
And that's the thing, like you will, no matter who you are, you will level up that day. Because
the adrenaline will just,
it'll just take you there for sure.
And then you're like, now I gotta hit those numbers.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, awesome. There's some tips for you.
So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, learned lots of fun tricks and tips in terms of push-ups. If you guys like this video and are looking to improve your push-ups, we actually have an event at Project Rise. This one's super cool. I'll let MikeMike explain it a little bit.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a 12-hour push-up endurance event. So it happens November 28th, 2021, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And essentially what we're doing is raising money for cancer research, pancreatic cancer in particular. But cancer is something that affects a lot of people. I'm sure we all know somebody who's been affected by it. And it's just gonna be an awesome day to raise money for cancer research. So 1 push-up, we're trying to raise $1 for every push-up, ideally.
That'd be amazing.
When we did it in 2019, we did 76,000 push-ups altogether.
Wow.
And we raised over $5,000. So
which is absolutely amazing. I remember that event, it was so much fun.
Yeah,
so
right?
if you guys are in the area and wanna check it out, make sure you come out on the 28th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We're both gonna be here, so not only do you get to work on your push-ups and raise money, but you also, if you have any questions, I don't know why I messed up there. If you have any questions on your push-ups, we're both gonna be here, as well as a bunch of other trainers and great people in the community, so you get to meet a lot of fun people and hopefully improve your push-ups as well as work for a great cause. So again, November 28th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Awesome. See you there.
Yeah. Also, if you guys liked any of the exercises throughout this workout, or if you're looking to improve your push-ups at all, I do have my app where you guys can work on any type of calisthenics workouts, so make sure to check that out as well at the end of this video. It's just super quick. The link will also be in the description. But that is it for today, and I will see you guys next time.